Hello and welcome to Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Godzilla Minus One, directed by Takashi Yamazaki. So I'm a 60s and 70s kid, and the old Godzilla and King Kong films were regularly shown on TV when I was young. So I've always had an affection for these two great cinema icons. They are great monsters. However, at times they've been flogged to death, and in the Hollywood CGI age, I can't stand some of the more recent iterations. I still haven't seen the most recent Kong vs Godzilla because I can't quite bring myself to watch it. I will watch it at some point because I do like the characters. I saw the trailer for Godzilla Minus One and it did trigger my interest, but when I saw all the amazing reviews the film was getting, I made a point of seeing it. Wow. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. A real cinema treat. Don't get me wrong, this isn't art house cinema. It's cliched, it uses very familiar tropes, and it's as nationalistic and patriotic as, say, Independence Day or Rambo. There's no poetry in this film. At the same time, it's so entertaining and moving and satisfying if you have an attachment to the Godzilla character. There's just the right amount of Godzilla action. Although we do see Godzilla very early in the film, so there's no tension in the reveal, there's a perfect balance of how much Godzilla action we have. There's plenty of the best action you could have hoped for, but I still wanted more. For the Godzilla scenes at sea, it felt that there were so many references to Jaws in a really good way. I mentioned patriotism. I really liked this. It made it so entertaining. It wasn't macho at all. There was a humility to all of the characters. I love how this film didn't try to be too clever. It's first and foremost a film focused on making a top-notch entertaining film. It does make many serious points, and I really like this, but it doesn't leave any loose ends, and it neatly ties everything up at the end in a really satisfying way. It's very melodramatic at times, but it's the perfect amount of melodrama. This is what makes it so entertaining. It uses such familiar tropes to draw us into the main characters, but it really succeeds. I loved the four guys working together. Even though as an English speaker I was working with the subtitles, the personalities of these four guys really shone through. I love the message of the film, especially Shikishima being treated as such a coward. In fact, he was probably suffering from fear, anxiety, and later on PTSD. The film makes clear the absurdity of sacrifice in war and the mistreatment of the military. We hear early on about there being no ejection seats in the aeroplanes, for example. It's more about Japanese shame than the original Godzilla. The gut-wrenching shame of being so humiliated by the US, and the personal shame of Shikishima. This is where it's not macho at all. In a US film, the heroes are macho and invincible. In Godzilla Minus One, the main character is so damaged and fragile. The film is really anti-government, how it's only people coming together that can get something done, and how there are circumstances where sacrifice is meaningful. Even for Shikishima's family, it starts off so imperfect, but three people simply working together make it work. For me, the Ginza attack is one of those great moments of cinema history. It's so similar to the Tokyo attack in the original film, but there's so much more detail. This is world-class monster rampage with stunning visual effects. I love how Godzilla looks very similar to the original one. Even though they use CGI, it's like they kept a bit of a man in a suit aesthetic. I think the CGI works so well. I never had a problem with it once, and I'm really picky about CGI in films. I did think the CGI was a little wonky sometimes with the four ships at the end of the film, but never with Godzilla. I love how we didn't hear the old music until the Ginza attack. I almost jumped out of my seat with excitement. It felt like one of those really exciting moments in cinema that you'll always remember. Generally, the music was excellent, at times haunting, moving, spectacular. It really added depth and emotion to the film. This film was made for only $15 million. Kong vs. Godzilla cost $160 million, and the latest Indiana Jones cost $300 million. It really shows that creativity matters much more than money when creating special effects. It's very refreshing to have something that's so creative and fresh compared to many of the bloated, unimaginative Hollywood offerings. One issue I'm not sure of is the salute at the end of the film. They seem to be saluting Godzilla as he disintegrates. I've seen some confusion online about this, with some people saying that they don't like the fact that it appears that Godzilla's being saluted. For me, it felt like a really powerful scene, like the victor honouring the enemy it's defeated. It reminded me of the scene in the old film The Enemy Below, that classic scene where Robert Mitchum and Kurt Jürgens salute each other as the German U-boat is defeated. I loved that scene as a kid. Overall, I really enjoyed this as a great cinematic experience. If you have any affection for the Godzilla character, then I would highly recommend this film. I think this stands every chance of becoming a cult favourite in the Godzilla universe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.